Hello and welcome to another video homework year 7. If you're in 7G1, your due date is Wednesday 14th of June, and if you're in B1, you are required to bring this homework on Friday 16th of June. This video will be an introduction lesson to transformations. Right, as per usual, your first activity is to explore these keywords and try and define them. Now, in the course of the video, I will be looking at the keywords running from reflections to vector. However, I want you to look at this word transformation and try and define it yourself using the root word and the prefix and the suffix that is attached to it. You should have come across that word before. It is an English word, but I want you to find the definition that we use in maths. So now is a good time to pause and try and find a mathematical definition of transformations. Right, moving on. I want you to give, so I'm not going to define this word for you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that there are 4 types of transformations and give you an overview. So rotation is one of them. You should have seen this before when you're in primary school, so it's not the first time you should come across rotation. And those 3 bullet points mean that there are 3 things you need to know about rotation. Now, you should have this sheet, so as I'm going through rotation in a second, you will be filling those bullet points with the 3 things that you need to know about rotation. The second type of transformation is reflection. Again, you should have come across this when you're in primary school, and there is one thing you need to know about reflection. The third one is enlargement, and there are 2 things you need to know. And finally, we have translation, and there is one thing you need to know about translation. So just to recap that, we've got rotation, reflection, enlargement, and translation. Okay, let's explore them with a little bit more detail. So the first one is reflection. I've defined it very briefly. So it's to reflect an object using a line of symmetry. So I've got the word line twice there, just ignore it. So the definition, a brief definition would be to reflect an object using a line of symmetry. Okay, and what you need to know about reflection is the line of symmetry, which is the same thing as saying mirror line. Okay, so the one thing that you need to know about reflection was your line of symmetry. So if you want to note that down on the PowerPoint slide that I've given you under reflection. Okay, next one is rotation, and this means to turn a shape about a fixed point. And we said that there are 3 things you need to know. The first one is direction, i.e. clockwise or anti-clockwise. So that's a little demonstration for you, illustrating which direction it's going in. Right, the second thing you need to know is by how many degrees am I rotating my object? Okay, and it's usually given as 90. You should know that that's a quarter turn. 180, that's half a turn. And 270. Right, ignore the pips there. That's 270. That is 3/4 turn. And finally 360. And that would be a full turn. Okay, and the final thing you need to know about rotation is the center of rotation, and a simple definition of this is the point where you rotate your shape from. Okay, it will make more sense when we're doing examples in class, so don't worry if you don't understand what center of rotation means just yet. I just want you to take down the 3 key things you need to know about rotation for now. So it's direction, angle, and center of rotation under those 3 bullet points. Okay, moving on, we have enlargement. So a simple definition would be it makes a shape bigger or smaller. Okay, even though the word enlargement implies or may imply that the shape is growing, but it can actually go in the other direction as well. It can also get smaller. Okay, 2 things you need to know about this. The first one is scale factor. And this means by how many times is your shape getting bigger or smaller. And your center of enlargement. Just like rotation, we have center of enlargement as well. And this is where you start enlarging your shape from. Okay. Likewise, if you don't quite understand what that means, don't worry. With examples in class, it will become much clearer. Okay, finally we have our translation. This might be a little bit tricky to understand, but just bear with me in the video, and if you have any questions you can always ask me in class, okay? So what translation does is it moves a shape from one place to another, okay? The size of the shape doesn't change, the orientation doesn't change, so you literally move a shape from one position to another. And the question is, how do I know how to move that shape? That movement is described using a vector. And it's written like this, so you've got your x and you've got your y. Now, what the x and y tells you is which direction your shape is moving. So the top value here, I've got an example for you. Got -9, 15. This is called a column vector. Okay, so the x has been replaced with -9, and this top number here tells you whether you'll be moving in the right direction or the left direction. Okay, and the number at the bottom tells you whether you're moving up or down. So if you can just relate to axes, so your x and your y axes, so the -9 at the top tells you whether you're moving right or left, and the number at the bottom tells you if you're moving up or down. Now we've got two directions. How can one number tell you if you're moving right or left? Well, it's quite easy. If this number here is a positive number, then you'll be moving in the right direction. And if it's a negative number, you'll be moving in the left direction. So in this case, we have -9. I know I'm going to be moving 9 units, but the question is which direction? Well, the number's a negative number, therefore you know you'll be moving in the left direction. And let's look at the number at the bottom now. We've got 15. So we said this number here at the bottom, the y value tells you if you're moving up or down. So if it's a positive number, which 15 is, it means you move upwards. And if it's a negative number, you move downwards. So this vector means I move 9 spaces to the left and 15 spaces up. And that will be the new position of my shape. Right. I'm going to give you more examples of vectors actually. So if the question says translate, i.e. move the shape by vector 8, 2, what does that mean? So if I look at the top number, that's telling me 8. I know I'm going to move left or right. The question is which direction? So I'm going to use 8. I'm going to be moving by 8 spaces. Well, this is a positive number, so I need to move 8 spaces in the right direction. And the bottom number is going to tell me if I'm going up or down. How we identify is we check to see if the number is positive or negative. In this case, it's positive, therefore you're moving upwards. So this vector would mean I move my shape 8 right and 2 up. What I want you to do with the rest of the vectors is actually tell me, like I've done here, which direction you'll be moving. So you've got 5, -5, so tell me which direction you're moving. You've got -6, 8, -7, -4, and 0, -3. So like I've done here, so I've said that 8, 2 in words mean 8 right and 2 up. I want you to do the same for the rest of the vectors. Thank you very much for watching this video.